the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Speak the truth all day, every day. I'm Stephen Lovegrove. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dr. Lovegrove.
Savage.
And of course, you guys can find me, Lindsey Miller, on social media everywhere at Rockin' Mama Life, except for Snapchat. I don't do the snap. And make sure you find us at AfterBuzz TV. Rate, comment, subscribe, YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes. We love hearing what you have to say. And Stefan is manning the live chat. I know we had a little bit of trouble with our feed, but we are on. We are good. Is it us or some random chick doing selfies now?
Oh, I see. We have fixed it. We have the video going. Live chat people are wondering if they have audio, but that may be a delayed comment. So we need to confirm that we have audio, but I see you, Lindsey, loud and clear.
Why didn't you say anything? We look great together. We actually look like a boy band.
This is like a boy band section over here, and not to get ahead of ourselves, but this is Team Brady over here.
Well, let's not get started.
Let's not get too far ahead.
Brady all the way.
So tonight we had Reverb perform. This is our second episode. The first one threw a lot at us, and now we're getting into these bands performing. And tonight we had Reverb, which was Andrew, Jaden, Brady, Chance, John, and Cam. Whew, remember them all. And I just want to start talking about just overall impressions of these guys. What do you guys think of these six?
Okay. Reverb. For me, they're just perfect together. Like they're like the perfect vocally, like singing wise.
Their harmonies were really impressive.
Of course, they have Chance and they have Brady, which is they're strong. Together, they're like power.
Well, and Nick did say, you know, in the very beginning, he said we put these guys together because they are the strongest vocals in the entire competition.
Which I didn't realize when they announced the groups, that this was like the vocal group. But then as they were revealed tonight, I was like, okay, that makes total sense. What I think is interesting, at the very beginning of the episode, Nick said they can't get comfortable because these groups are going to change. And that's something that, again, what I said last week is so interesting about this show is no matter how much we love Reverb, and we did, we're never going to see Reverb again in that form. And honestly, I think Brady is wise to be like, you know, we kind of are competing against each other. So like, it's that weird dynamic of this show of they do have to be a group, they do have to have chemistry, but also like, watch your back because they are in a competition.
But that's so hard, you know, because it's how do you create that feeling of like, this is a group, we want to do the best performance, but I need to do better than you.
You have to shine. There has to be chemistry, but also you have to shine.
Yeah, I don't think you have to think about like the next steps. You have to live the moment, like seize the moment, seize the show, the performance at that moment. And
well, and I think we've seen it a number of times in like other reality competitions. You know, I think American Idol is the best example when they do the group round, and you see there's a huge difference between being a really great singer and being a really great singer in a group. There's two different definitions of success for those.
Now, this is a general comment / question, but are they changing names every week, do we think? Or do we think Reverb is sticking, but they'll go from Reverb to Uplift?
I think they're going to change.
I envision that they'll probably change the groups and then say, okay, now come up with your name. And they name themselves, you know, within each group.
New names all the time.
I feel like the Reverb name. I'm happy that they're going to change it. What is Reverb?
It made sense, and now that we understand it's vocals, that's a vocal, like, centric name.
Yeah, but it's like an echo, like Reverb. Like Reverb,
so it applied to the, like, vocal-heavy group. But I'll tell you, my overall thought of this week was, now I'm so sad we didn't get to see this for Uplift. Literally the whole episode, I sat there thinking, first of all, it wasn't as emotional of a song, so maybe we wouldn't have had the therapy session anyway. But the whole time I was sitting there thinking, we didn't get to see this from Uplift. I wish we got to see the whole behind the scenes now. I missed it.
Yeah.
I feel you.
So we do see a lot of behind the scenes. We see very first them in the pool, which, I mean, come on, you've got attractive young men. I will hold my comments because I probably could be their mother if I had them when I was in high school. But they're at the pool with Emma, and we see her coming and surprise them.
I was surprised that they didn't, like, you know, scream at her, take it off, and how. Because she came like in a surprise. I thought they're gonna join in the pool or something.
It's not that kind of show.
Yeah.
This is why we love Asaf on the panel. Everyone welcome Asaf in the comments, please.
Asaf needs to jump in the pool. But no, I really loved what she had to say, and I liked what they were doing with this, and I envision we'll see Nick and Timbaland come and do this as well. It's sort of connecting artist to artist and saying, you know, for her in the Spice Girls, it was really important to have a connection, to look after one another, and that's what allowed them to feel like comfortable so they could be fierce on stage. And I loved this.
I think it's very important, very, very important from her perspective. But in my opinion, the times change. You know, it's 2017. The boy bands are not supposed to be like the boy bands back in the days, even not from 2015, like One Direction. I think more genres should be involved in. I don't think that this boy band should be the typical boy band.
No, I agree, and I think we've talked about that, and we've seen Timbaland really pushing for that. We talked about that last week.
With the sound.
There's so many diverse types of artists on this show. I think it was hard to see that in this episode because these were all
the singers,
basically the lead vocalists. So you're gonna get this very classic boy band,
the best vocalist
situation, and you don't have a lot of the flavor and like the rappers or the beatboxing and stuff like that in this group of guys.
Right. I think Timbaland is definitely the right person to bring a change or to bring the next level boy band. Like, if you want to make something that's gonna stay for a long time or to make an impact in the music industry or in the world in general, Timbaland is the right guy to be part of it.
Agree.
And this is jumping ahead, but Adam Blackstone, who we'll get to, the music producer, also a forward-thinking person. Now, okay, in the pool moment, when she asked, are any of you homesick? I thought it was hilarious because she's asking, like, from your parents, from your siblings, from your pets, because we've acknowledged there's down to 14-year-olds on this show. And Chance is like, I miss my daughter. And it ended up being this beautiful moment between him and Emma, but it was such a different homesick than I think she was originally
not
thinking.
Expecting that.
Right. Right.
And we see a lot of Chance this episode, and we'll get into it when we talk about rehearsals.
I love Chance.
But I think the one thing, you know, she also talked about having your own character in a band, and she asked who was the loudest, and they said Brady, and I was really thrown by that, and I think she was too, because he just seems like this quiet, shy guy.
But from his comment, and they showed a lot of comments from Brady.
Right. They all agreed. Nobody disagreed with that assessment.
He's very cynical.
I want to see that Brady.
He's very. You can see he's the goofiest in the show in general.
But he's still after they had that intro, I felt like he came across and was written in the storyline as like a very shy, very sweet guy, and I want to see this loud.
Well, to me, that tells me we see the rehearsals, and because he's classically trained, he takes it very seriously, which is good. I think it works well for him that he does. But we don't know what goes down in the hotel. We don't know what he's like outside of rehearsals, and that really highlighted. They're all like, "Oh, he's the loud one." We didn't see that, but it just is a reminder of how much we don't see.
But I think America wants to see that.
We
want to see the real story here.
Well, but this is a show where you're voting for somebody, and the wallflower doesn't always get votes. And I mean, hands down, I will be the first to admit I wasn't a fan of Brady, but he is incredibly talented, and I want to see those moments where he's out of his shell so that the rest of America can latch on to him.
And he's charming as well. And I think that's the thing with these kind of shows, that like the show decide to show
they write
only
the
one
story.
side.
Yeah, they write the story they want to write.
Yeah, and you can see Brady just want to make a backflip or make everybody like, laugh. I could see it. I could see inside him.
Well, we also saw was them singing for Emma. What did you guys think of this performance by the pool?
I was just going to comment. I thought it was beautiful. If that had been the song of the week, I would have been fine. that John, I think it's John Bellion, is that how you say his name? All Time Low, is such a good song, and they were phenomenal. And that, I was wowed completely by that.
The acapella was a great choice to do it. I think it's the first time that I was like, I heard Brady, and I was like, oh, his voice is very sweet. Beautiful.
Yeah, and I love their performance, but what I loved even more was their reaction after. She was like, that was great, and she walked away, and it was just, it made me realize these are a bunch of kids who, like, this is the biggest thing of their lives probably thus far, and maybe ever, and they just were so excited. They were like, yeah, that was awesome, you know, like, just, it was so genuine. I loved that moment after she walked away, because it was just, you were just like, oh my God, they love this.
Yeah, it's like, what's next? Like, we already made it. We sang to Emma.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that was a moment where I was like, now it's time to remember Nick's words. This isn't permanent.
No.
Which is why I thought it was smart that even at the pool, we cut to Brady saying, this is still a competition. Like, don't get too cozy, guys.
And let's talk about that. So then we see them go into rehearsals with Tim Davis, who I love my man Tim Davis, because it ain't about you.
Right. So we need to ask, because Tim watched the show last week. We need to ask you, Tim, what is the cologne you're wearing? I want to know now. Brady wants to know. Brady, we're asking for you, and Tim, I now want to know.
And
so please inform.
What about a hair
product?
product?
And Asaf wants your hair product. So Tim, we have so many questions, so little time.
I need help. Like, for real, I need help.
Did the hat just come off? This has been a whole thing tonight, you guys. The hats.
Okay.
The struggle is real.
Let's talk about the rehearsals with Tim. We saw, you know, the big things in the rehearsals were Jaden, you know, is he going to be a one-trick pony? We see Andrew with his MMA training.
Right.
And then John, who, you know, all I could think was nobody puts baby in the corner. He made poor John turn around and sing.
Right.
What did you guys think of the rehersals
First
in terms of how the guys handled that?
I really love Tim Davis.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Savage Davis. He's like straight up, he's
honest.
Not playing. He's so honest, and he's not trying to be the bad cop or for no reason.
No, he keeps it real
and professional. He's not just excessively diva. It's professional. He cares about them.
So professional. Again, John, I felt a little bad for John.
John struggled.
Yeah.
So when he had John stand in the corner and sing, it was the first time I noticed. In this episode that has been focused on this group, we've heard nothing from John. Now, we also didn't hear a whole lot from Cam Jackson. So both of them, I feel like, did not get great edits in the final, whatever.
Right.
What I will say is, last week we talked about Andrew, and this is probably going to be a recurring theme throughout this after show because we saw a lot from him this week. Last week we both loved Andrew, and I gotta say, my tide of my feelings about him started changing from that rehearsal. I thought that the run that he did felt really forced, and it was the first time I thought, I'm not sure about Andrew anymore, because he was my runner-up for my Final 5 prediction last week. Andrew Bloom was my runner-up, and that was the first moment of many in this episode where I started to question that.
I definitely questioned it as well. And you know what I think the issue is it all goes down to there's a huge difference between performing as a solo artist and performing as a part of a band. And I think we saw this a little bit with Andrew. He is a performer. He performs 5 nights a week on his own, bars, restaurants. He's used to being on stage, just him, a one-man band.
Right.
And it's really hard to turn that off and almost relearn how to perform and how to be an artist, because it's a completely different experience.
I think he's still in like this genre. I think he's a country singer, right? And I think he's still in the box of only to stay just as the country singer. I think he's great. He's represent greatness for me. This country.
Oh, he's fantastic
genre.
talent.
Well, but I sent her a video. He sang John Mayer on YouTube that I found, which is not really. It wasn't really a country influenced song at all. So he can do it. I just don't understand, why was he trying the runs? I think the pressure of Jaden got to him, and he was like, these vocalists are impressive. I have to show off, and I think it worked against him, unfortunately.
Oh, definitely. Just because you're in a boy band doesn't mean that you have to be like the rest of the guys. You gotta bring your own flavor into it. Stay unique, stay special, be the best in your area. And
well, I think it's hard. You know, I think it's hard when you look around and these guys are all so incredibly talented to not compare yourself or not try to be like somebody else when you see everybody going, oh my gosh, this person's doing this amazing. And I love that he was trying new things. He was trying things outside of his realm, but I felt like the whole rehearsal and even in the performance, which we'll talk about, I felt like he really struggled to find his place in this band.
Yeah, he's trying to prove something to them, and I think it was a wrong decision.
Which you should. Right? It's a competition. You are trying to prove yourself, but it's hard to.
But you were right about the staying in your lane.
He doesn't have to try to be better than someone else because it's not fair. You cannot, you cannot judge. How do you say it in English though? You cannot judge a turtle trying to fly faster than a bird.
I have no idea what you're trying to say.
It sounds like a proverb somehow.
Fantastic.
I tried to translate it, but anyway, I think
turtle flying. Let's talk about the rehearsal with Adam Blackstone, the music director, which we talked about a little bit. And I want to talk about John on the keyboards because here's my thing with John.
Yeah.
It was very relevant that the keyboards were integral to the whole performance. And he had a pressure put on him that he needed to be the backbone for it. And I wonder, had he not had that pressure, if he would have had a different performance and a different experience in this round of the competition. What do you guys think?
Well, let me say though, as somebody that has played keys for over 15 years, that's not a hard.
Didn't know.
Well, no, but shout out to John and shout out to keys players out there. But here's the thing, that's not a particularly difficult.
He said it was a hard arrangement.
I don't think
it was a vocally hard arrangement.
Yeah.
Keyboard wise, Stay is a very easy song. It's a lot of like quarter note basic chords. So honestly, as soon as I saw him get that assignment, I immediately wrote down this could really go wrong. Because I was like, he's either gonna shine because he was on the keys or he's gonna be outshined because he was on the keys. What it did highlight for me though is I barely thought about, I know Andrew Bloom plays guitar, I know Michael Connor plays violin, but it did suddenly highlight for me, what if there are other contestants that play instruments that we don't know about?
Oh.
It did make me curious.
Do you think it's a plus or it's like it's a must to play an instrument in order to be part of a boy band, or it's like it's not really?
I think it depends. I think with instruments, it can go one of two ways. It's like Stephen said, either it's going to make you stand out because you're amazing at both, or it's gonna detract from your ability to just sing really well, and it's gonna hurt you.
That's true. Like also, we don't have a comparison point because, as Asaf said earlier, we're not trying to build the next One Direction. But I do remember being at a One Direction concert and thinking, wouldn't it be interesting if more of them played instruments and rotated with that stuff?
Right.
So not all boy bands do. Some have more dancing and choreography, but I think the instruments could add something. So it made me curious about it for sure.
Right. And and one more thing. I'm not sure that it's not a must also to be able to dance. Yes, you have to, in my opinion, you must follow choreography.
You have to be able to move to music and not look like a weirdo.
Exactly. Not that awkward like they...
Yeah.
And one more thing about the choreography part with the Nappy Tabs. And shout out to Nappy Tabs. Great job.
Napoleon, love him.
It felt more like it's like a therapy class and less like choreography class or stage class.
Well, I disagree with you on that. I think that as choreographers, it's not like they were gonna perform like a ballroom dance to the ballad or like a contemporary routine. And sometimes with choreography, it's more about staging and performance coaching.
Right.
And I think that they did a really beautiful job of taking this song and the concept of the cameras and really allowing the guys to connect to it, because when you have a song that's a ballad, they're not going to be doing choreography.
Right. I thought they're going to use like a little bit more moves and not just, standings and just.
But I think it was the staging. I thought it was powerful. I thought it was good staging. I thought it was what the song needed to bring out the performance that the guys had to give, and it was a bit of a therapy session.
Yeah,
let's get it straight.
But when they connected, when they had them all tap into that moment, and then they all sang, I wrote down, this is magic, because it was. And I was like, this is why we're watching this show, for these moments. And so they brought it out of them. However it had to happen, it was a bit therapy-esque. But it worked.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit heartless, but I did get a little teary when they were talking about.
What do you guys think about the part when Chance just started to cry and you know, Tabitha took him on the side and started to talk with him, and like.
I thought it was beautiful. You know, I think it was very real, and I think that somebody who can actually tap into something real, I think you see it and you can sense it in their performance.
100%.
There's a huge difference between somebody who's acting like they're really into the song and somebody who's really feeling the song. And I think that for Chance, it was, when he sang, it cut straight through you because it was real. And those are the singers that I want to listen to.
Right.
Because they say something.
Yeah, he opened also the performance.
Yeah.
This time, I think he had
a
lot of responsibility on his shoulders this time. He did a great job.
My guess with Chance is he had to be responsible for a child really early and really young in life. And so he made some comment to the effect of all of this stuff caught up to me. Like I started thinking about, didn't he say his dad passed away when he was 6 years old? And 8 years old. And so I think it was just one of those moments for him of like, he doesn't get to be emotionally vulnerable because he has a little daughter that he has to take care of. And so I was glad that he like gets to do some healing while he's having this experience. That's probably good for him, probably overdue.
And as a parent, that's so true. Like, you don't get to, and I envision that, you know, whenever he was going through this breakup with his daughter, Brooklyn's mom, he didn't get to really explore that because he had a daughter who was looking at him and he needed to take care of her. And so he probably just blocked that off, and he's so incredibly young.
Much respect for like being able to, you know, to make it on this show and actually, you know, not just
you
know, they with his daughter. You know how it is.
I couldn't do it. It's so hard. My heart breaks for him every time he's like, I just miss my daughter. But we also see Cam was in a wheelchair, tore meniscus, basketball player, which also been there. It's so hard when you can't walk and you take it for granted. And then we see Brady with his stutter and melt my heart. That picture of him as a child, I mean,
now is this what made you realize how very wrong you were about Brady last week? Can you go on the record and admit you were?
I will admit. So there is a tendency for classically trained artists to be not cool at all. And this is a perfect segue into their performance because Brady was just the epitome of cool. He looked like a GQ model. His bone structure is unreal. Put that kid in a suit and like give him great lighting. I mean, he's going to melt hearts. He
killed me.
His hair, he is just, you know.
When Nick did the GQ comment and he did the Greek statue pose, I was like, well, you could also go the modeling route. Like, you have options.
He could be a model. His bone structure is unreal.
Right, print.
But he's also this like, you know, just sweet, shy guy who apparently is loud. I don't know. Brady is an enigma.
We all agree that Brady is just our favorite.
He is not.
Of this group, is he our favorite? He's my favorite.
Absolutely.
Wait. Who's your favorite in this group in like in this group?
Well,
in
Reverb? I love Chance. I love him. I just think, but maybe it's because he's a father. I don't know, but I like
Chance. I've just been, from the minute I heard Brady, I was waiting for this week.
As an artist, Brady really shined. It was amazing, his performance this week.
Right, so we all agree that it's split between Brady and Chance. Definitely both of them.
Also, I will say Cam, I think, is a bit of a sleeper. He has incredible tone. And I think that he has played sort of a cog in the wheel in the performance that we've seen. You know, we didn't really see him highlighted.
Is that a personality thing?
Yes, exactly. He's great.
Because his voice comes through.
Yeah,
where is his personality? Is what we're missing.
Nothing's different. He's just a
typical. Is it personality or is it editing?
No, that's what I'm saying. Ooh. Is it that we're missing it, or is it that it's not? He's just not as loud and outspoken and whatever. We don't know. Timbaland loves him though, so that makes me think: is there more we're not seeing?
His tone
I don't know.
Is
okay, guys.
Incredible.
As someone who got who auditioned for this show, you wanted to know, like, this is what I wanted to tell you before.
Wait, Asaf, you auditioned for Boy Band?
I auditioned for Boy Band.
We knew there was a confession coming.
There was a confession. I auditioned for Boy Band.
Okay.
But I told them that I will never be able to be part of a boy band. I'm too rebellious. I'm too sassy sometimes. I will never be able to be part of a boy band. I have a lot to say. I don't.
We did not know this. This was a live reveal on the air. You heard it here first.
News to us.
Yes, but there is no chance that Cam will be on this show. He would be chosen to this show without having like a little bit of personality.
I don't know though. I mean, think about boy bands.
There's so many.
There's so many boy bands, and there's always like that one guy that like nobody remembers their name.
Oh.
You know, I'm just saying.
I don't actually know if that's true with boy bands as much as Fifth Harmony, but I don't want to say who it is. Okay.
I don't even know Fifth Harmony. I don't. Yeah.
What about Jaden?
Wait, can we just go back to Cam for a second?
Yes.
Yes.
Because there was a moment when Timbaland was like, that guy right there, you know I'm looking at you. And then the camera cuts away.
It's like,
and
who the
he
fuck
was
is it?
like, Cam, you're great. Do you think Timbaland forgot his name and they had to feed it to him?
Oh, this is a nice way
That
to
could
look
be.
at
It
it.
also could be he said it about someone else and they mixed up the edit to make it
maybe.
seem like
but
there
we
was
cannot-
more feedback for
We
Cam.
cannot blame the editing.
We don't
every
know.
time,
Cam,
guys.
if you're
What do
watching
you
this,
guys
we
think?
love your voice. We
Cam.
want to see more of you.
Just tell us a joke. Show us a little bit more personality because the show doesn't show it a lot, right? But in general, I don't think that Cam will be able to make it on the show without having a little bit of personality. And in my opinion, just speak a little bit more up to yourself.
Okay, speaking of the performance, Jaden, was he churchy? Did he do it for you? What do you think?
I think he has a great voice. Not too much. I think he's still in the box of like being a gospel singer, R&B singer. He should go solo.
I agree.
So I'm outnumbered
All the
here
way.
2-1 because they think Jaden should not be in a boy band.
definitely
I
not.
was gonna say what I wrote down about his performance is I thought that he gave us just enough. He didn't overdo it with the runs, but he showed that he had the voice. And actually, so if you look at Jaden and Andrew, right? Last week, both people that we identified as soloists, both people who I thought strong vocalists, and how are they going to be in a group?
Right.
And I actually feel like I made the right pick by predicting Jaden to go further than Andrew, even though last week it was a hard choice. Because what we saw this week is Jaden really did well with it. He found his place.
Right.
He did just enough. Andrew, I was like, I really made the right choice picking Jaden. Andrew could still have a transformation throughout the season, but Jaden, I felt like gave just enough. I was very happy with his group performance.
I agree. I think he surprised me in showing a lot of restraint, and actually he was really cool. I thought he just has a really cool vibe, and he's one of those natural performers. I think a lot of these guys show their inexperience in youth when they're performing in terms of just looking a little awkward, a little like, I'm supposed to do this here, I'm supposed to do that there, and he just seemed so natural and cool and suave, but also that reaffirmed for me, he seems like his entire persona, his performance just seems way more mature and more of like a solo, cool R&B swagger than what would fit in from what I've seen from the other guys in the boy band.
Sure, so I'll agree with you. Chance, who I liked last week, did really win me over this week. And he does give off a boy band energy more so than Jaden.
100%.
I will give that to you.
My question is to you guys, do you really see Jaden as the top 5 finalist?
No.
She doesn't.
Thank you for
She
it.
doesn't.
I think he
said
hands down might be
Do you
one
see
of the
Jaden
top.
really? I don't see Jaden in the top 5. I don't see him as a
that
in
was
a boy
my
band in
prediction.
general.
That was my prediction last week. We're gonna reassess at the end of next week.
Yeah.
Once we've seen them all in their groups, we're gonna reassess and make our top 5 again.
Yes.
Okay, so we see John voted off. John Klassen gets voted off, and the judges made the comment that he didn't take control. And what do you guys think? Do you think this is the right call? What do you think of his performance?
First of all, I love this song though. What do you? I love the.
Rihanna Stay. It was
love this
amazing.
song.
And whether it was Tim or whoever did the arrangement.
Yeah.
Oh, the
What an
arrangement was
arrangement. Oh
awesome.
my God.
Oh, it melted my heart. But in my opinion, I would love to hear and to see the next groups to perform like more 80s or 70s old music, funk.
Oh.
Yeah, some
Which
classics.
would be nice. But did you think John should have gone home?
Oh, definitely. 100%. Or John or Andrew, right?
Andrew.
Yeah, 100%.
So if we're having the group dynamic conversation, I was actually going to ask you guys if we're assuming those are the bottom 2, John and Andrew, which they don't explicitly say the last 2, but we're assuming.
But that's, yeah.
Between that bottom 2, I don't know, because I thought John looked like maybe he needs to step out and shine a little bit more.
Right.
But if we were testing group dynamics, I kind of felt like John fit in better, and I kind of felt like Andrew, in fact, somebody said in the live chat, Andrew seemed forced and awkward and the most out of place. So I was going to ask you guys after reading that comment, who did you think felt most out of place, John or Andrew?
I just think that, first of all, John, he seems like a guy, he knows what he wants, he has a clear vision, he's confident in everything, but you don't have, like in life, you have one chance, one opportunity, all that thing. Sounds cheesy, but that's the truth. You cannot hold back, especially when you're on stage in a competition show.
You can't say, I'll show it to them later. You have to give them everything now.
You cannot tell them, check me out on Instagram. It's not working like that.
I think that I'm glad the judges made that decision. I agree. I think that had John given all he had in that performance and not sat back and basically been the keyboard player for the performance, I think that maybe he would still be here. Yeah. I don't think that Andrew didn't fit in as much, and I think that I appreciate the judges keeping him in, because even though he seemed like he struggled a little bit to find his place, he still sang his rear end off, you know, and he performed and he gave it his all, even if it was a little insecure maybe. He gave it his all, and I felt like John gave up on himself.
I think I know what you're about to say about John being on the keyboard. He's not going to be...
not the reason that he went home?
100% not. But
I think it messed with his head, though. I think he
But it was an internal. Once he got out of the keyboard, it didn't get better, unfortunately.
Look, he could shine with a keyboard. Actually, he was the only one to play instrument that in this performance, right? So, but here's the thing. It's not like he was playing like Stevie Wonder's level or Ray Charles.
Right.
He played like a basic chords, as you said.
Right.
And that's the thing. He didn't shine, even though
but
they
that's
gave him
also
his,
hard when
comfort
you're
zone.
when everybody else is standing up and vibing around each other, and you're just sitting there. It's just a different energy, and it's hard to then just pop up out of your seat and be in it.
Yeah, but it wasn't like a rock song or like a pop song. It was kind of a melodic song, pretty chill one.
Yeah, but I think his part was supposed to like amp it up a bit, and it's very hard to go from like sitting. Everybody walking around you to be like, I'm gonna take this to the next level.
I know what you're saying. 100%.
And I'm not saying it can't be done. It could have been done.
No, 100%.
But I am saying it's a bit unfair to him to have had that dynamic, you know.
Yeah, but he didn't shine. He didn't shine through.
So and then the judges say, I have to, you know, ask about this, because Timbaland and I believe Emma both were like, you could be a producer. And it kind of felt like the worst thing you can say to this poor kid who's had 2 failed music deals and now has lost his competition. And they're basically like, you're really not going to make it as an artist, but you could be a producer, you know?
It's so bad. So I put my cards on the table and said, I don't think that the keys was actually the reason that he went home. But if I was him, just... trying to put myself in that situation, I would be so pissed that I got assigned to the keys.
Right, that's what
if I was in his position, I would be like, I should never have done the keys. Why did I not get a choice? Like, that messed me up.
You should take advantage of it. Like, they gave him the opportunity to be in his comfort zone and to shine.
But was it his comfort zone? I mean, just because you can play an instrument doesn't mean that that's where you're most comfortable performing.
So here's the thing. You're a professional. You got to take it to your... take a... the advantage.
Okay.
Somebody in the chat said the keys could have worked if he wasn't a supporting musician, but rather a headliner, which does bring up a thought I had. Why in the world did he not start it off? If he was doing the keys, I love Chance. We love Chance starting it off. So much. But why did John not start it off if that's true? Instead of looking like the accompanist, I can't say it. Whatever the word is.
I don't know.
There's an M or an N in there. Yeah.
It would make more. It would
no, and
make
that's
more
what
sense.
I was trying to say. Is it's like to get into that zone when you basically are set up as their backup, you know, musician is really hard.
I do want to point something out before we move on from the performance, that both last week and this week, I can't tell what the reaction is. Like, go back and look at the clip and see what you think, but the boys look genuinely distraught at these eliminations. I don't know if they're like shocked because they think they picked the wrong person, or sad because they're going home, or both. But like, every time they pan over to the boys on these eliminations, they look devastated. And I don't know, it makes me feel like they actually are getting to know each other, even outside of these groups. Because
100%.
how else would they be You know,
Well,
it doesn't look feigned sadness to me.
But I think it's empathy as well. You know, like put a camera on me when I'm watching these kids get eliminated, and I probably look just as sad as they are because it's heartbreaking. And I think especially when you're in a position that these guys are in, is they know how much this means to each of them because they know how much it means to themselves. So to see somebody who's in the same position they are going home, which is probably their worst fear right now, because they have the opportunity to have their dreams come true.
Right.
And that's being taken away in one moment because of one performance. And as like an artist and a performer, we all have bad days.
Right.
And that's awful.
Right.
And so I think what you're seeing is these guys recognizing how devastating that moment is and how real that moment could be theirs next week or the week after. And the realization that like this, they're not all going to make it through.
Right, and I think it's very important. This is, let's not forget, this is a TV show. And the production they made sure that not to tell them anything and to keep them like a little bit in stress, a little bit. You know,
and how many times do you think they made these poor contestants stand there and film it?
Oh, they probably did it for like 2 hours.
Right? Like 2 hours he probably had to stand there and have them say that he's the one that's going
and they don't know anything, right?
Do you think John, I was going to ask, do you think John was shocked?
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely. You could see it on his face.
100%. He was about to cry like a baby, and I can understand. I can feel his pain because he didn't want to go home.
What would you say to Andrew right now after this week?
About Andrew?
No, if you were in his position, what should he do? I don't know what
he needs to. I don't know that it can be fixed in a TV show's time.
Right.
But and I don't think it's a bad thing either. I think that he is used to being a solo performer, and performing in a group is a completely different talent. Right. And I think that he could have that talent, but I think it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of time for him to get there. I'm the same as him. When I'm around a group of people that are incredibly talented, I shrink down, even though I've been invited to that same group.
They were not talented?
No.
No, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, I'm saying that
I know what you're saying.
You know, like there's this pressure when you're around people and you're a humble human being and you're in awe of the talent around you. It can make you feel smaller. And I think he needs to look in the mirror and be confident in who he is and what he brings to the table 100%. And not try to fit into a mold that he sees these other guys in.
Right. If I have a message to Andrew, and if he's watching us right now, I would just say, Andrew, stay who you are. Like, do the thing that you're doing right now. To be part of a boy band might not be your spot, but keep doing what you're doing, and you know, it's by the hand of God or the judges.
We loved his first performance.
It was amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing.
And he doesn't have to try, because again, I go back to look up Andrew Bloom. Oh, that's a good song. Look up Andrew Bloom, Gravity, John Mayer on YouTube, and you'll see, like, he
so talented.
Do that.
You did the research.
I did research.
Oh yeah, we stocked all of
Lindsey and I are researchers. While he was auditioning for the show, we were researching. That is the tea.
Okay, so we saw John eliminated. We have next week is 6-track. We've got Gavin Becker, Andrew Butcher, Michael Connor, Mikey Jimenez. Is it Jimenez? I can't. Dorian Tyler, Miles Wesley. Let's get into predictions.
Michael? No.
Predictions time.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
It's kind of psychedelic.
Predictions.
All right, hit me with them. What do you guys think we're gonna see out of these 6 fellas next week?
The one that's gonna be eliminated.
Who do you think is gonna be eliminated? Who thinks is gonna shine?
I think definitely is gonna shine will be Michael, violent rapper, stand out. I think he's super talented. Most of it is bringing something else. Something else to the table. I think he should be part of the top. He's definitely one of my top 5 finalists.
So we're all in agreement on that.
Oh, you are too.
Michael Connor's fantastic. Yeah,
so
he's
we love
in our
him.
top 5.
I think
which Michael messaged us and said thank you for the support. It's just a genuine opinion. We all think that. Yeah, we all think that you're gonna be there. So
bro, follow me on Instagram.
It is what it is.
And now we all think Brady is. So right,
she's on board.
I am Team Brady. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think? Yeah.
So I do want to say I have no reason with Brady. They gave us previews of a reason to believe this. I haven't seen any previews that make me like. I haven't seen anything from Gavin next week, but I'm curious.
Who is Gavin?
We saw a very brief part of his audition. Well, that's the problem. We saw a very brief part of his audition. They said that he wasn't I don't think they said he was forgettable, but he didn't. They wanted more, is what they said. So I'm curious to see what he does. Andrew Butcher has a really good voice. I'm curious how he'll do with the group dynamics. Obviously excited about Michael Connor next week. The other person is Miles Wesley. I am very interested to see, and I will say, over the last week, I have seen Miles Wesley has been with more of the other contestants, like collabing. He wrote a song with Chance last night. So I think that he may have more group potential than they suspected originally. So those are the two I'm most excited about, is Michael and Miles next week.
What about Andrew?
Yes.
Do you guys think he's a boy band material?
My guess is that Andrew Butcher, bless his little heart, is probably going to go home. And I hope he surprises me.
Right.
But from what I saw from the initial auditions, I don't see how he fits in. And also just when you see him on camera and they pan to him in the other groups, he looks a little uncomfortable being on camera. And I think that this is a competition where you've got to shine on camera when you're not even the one supposed to be on camera.
So Gavin and Andrew, I would say, are the most likely to be bottom two.
Well, I don't know. I really hope that next week we see more of Gavin, because we haven't seen a lot, and I want to see more. I want to know who he is, what he can do. Another one I want to see more from is Dorian.
We got 5 seconds of Dorian in the premiere.
Yeah, we got like 5 seconds. So I want to see what the judges saw in him. Michael Connor, I'm really excited to see what he does.
You think he's able to sing like real singing, not rapping?
I'm curious.
We don't know,
to see what they do. You know, we saw Jay Hype struggle with the singing, and I want to see how Michael Connor handles it. Do they give him just a rap verse? Do they have? I mean, he's got to sing a harmony at some point. Can he?
Michael is necessary for a boy band. In 2017, Michael is necessary.
But my thought is
we have made our opinions known.
But Miles Wesley is in my top 5. I stand by my thought that he had a super genuine answer to being in a band and wanting to be a part of something bigger. We've seen him collaborating online. I think he's going to make it to the end. I hope he doesn't disappoint next week. Those are our predictions. We will see you guys next week when 6-Track performs. Let us know in the live chat who you think is going to make it through, what you think is going to happen. Let us know where people can find you. Asaf,
people can find me, all day, every day, every social media, not MySpace, no Facebook, at Asaf Goren 1. Your turn.
You can find me online at americaslifecoach.us or on all social at Dr. Lovegrove. The live chat's favorite is Brady. And in honor of Asaf, they are #TurtleForLife. If you remember that awkward moment from our after show.
Awesome. And you guys can find me, Lindsey Miller, on all social media at Rockin' Mama Life. But I go to bed at like 10 p.m., so not all day, every day. No. Mama's got to get her sleep. Make sure you go to YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, rate, comment, subscribe. Let us know your comments in the YouTube chat. We would love to hear you guys. We've gotten great feedback all this week. Tweet us. We will see you guys next week.
Yay!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.